There have been a few years in my life where my Christmas spirit faded a bit. I was working retail. People were so cold and selfish and rude, and I was astounded. This time of year isn't enjoyed by everyone, and many others feel jaded and faded at Christmas. This isn't a joyous time of year for everyone. While some of us are out enjoying the sights and the sounds of the season, some retail worker is probably getting something thrown at them or grasped at by a customer. Others are reflecting on past Christmases, their mourning losses of loved ones throughout the year. In our world of connectivity, with a media focused on inducing fear because it gets ratings and it sells commercials, we hear story after story of hatred, murder, sickness, death, racism, and war. All of this negative exposure throughout your day, and then you're trying to go out into your life, which life isn't always the easiest thing to navigate, can make anyone feel a bit jaded and faded. Years and years of this type of existence, of being pummeled with negativity, can lead you easily to feel a bit jaded and faded. Not all of our biological families are picture perfect. Some are quite dysfunctional. And not everyone greets the idea of gathering with their family at this time of year with a sense of joy and anticipation, unless they enjoy anticipating the drama maybe. Life experiences can cause people to feel like a cynic at every single turn. Once upon a time, though, we were all filled with life and with hope. Some would say we were very innocent back then. We hadn't experienced the reality of this world. But I should remind you that we may be in this world, but we're not supposed to be of this world. We belong to God, where love flows freely and bountifully. But the sin of this world can cause you to feel faded, to have lost the joy and exuberance of our youth. And if you feel this way, you wouldn't be the first. Even a saint experienced feeling faded. God had been silent for 400 years as prophesied by Malachi. This is important because when we look at today's passage, not only do we hear echoes of Isaiah, but we also hear the echoes of Malachi. The combination of the two is not a mistake. John the Baptist is clearly the prophet to usher in the Messiah. This is a man whose birth, like Jesus, was announced by an angel. He was 6 months older than Jesus. So when Herod makes this decree to go kill all the children, John the Baptist's life was supposed to be cut short as well. The Bible doesn't tell us how he survived. We know Jesus was taken to Egypt, but we aren't told how John survived. It is hypothesized that he was taken out into the wilderness to be raised, so that he would not be found. This is one explanation for his attire and his culinary choices of locusts and honey. Others feel that his clothing may be explained by him joining the Essene community. It's not recorded, though, that he was part of this community either by the Bible or by Josephus. But the Jewish historian that lived during this time period did write that the people of the Jews thought that God avenged the death of John the Baptist by destroying Herod's army. John actually gets more space in the Antiquities than Jesus does, because some thought him to be a Messiah. But people weren't even happy with him, even though his diet was extremely restrictive, his lifestyle. And Jesus was the opposite. It says he came eating and drinking, and people scoffed at him too. So it shows that no matter what, someone's going to complain and say bad things. Jesus said, though, that John was more than a prophet. He was the one to come before the Messiah, to announce him. John baptized Jesus. And on some accounts it says that he saw the dove descend and he heard the voice of God. And some say that only Jesus experienced this. But we do know that he did not feel worthy of baptizing Jesus. He knew that he was the Messiah up until the moment that he was jailed. It's actually my favorite part of the story because for John the Baptist, when he's sitting there in jail, something faded. The Bible does not tell us if it was his faith or if it was his hope or his sense of security, but we know something faded. Just a brief moment. And not every gospel shares this moment. Each gospel has its own purpose and goal. But we do know that John has been put in jail and he's facing an unknown future, which of course we know is going to be death by beheading. And he probably had an inkling that the death sentence was imminent because Herod was not exactly known for being merciful. Instead, he was known for being rather vengeful and taking out his own family members. We do not know if John had the same idea as the people of the time period about what the Messiah would do. We don't know if he was expecting Jesus to lead a rebellion. But something is clearly going on with this amazing man of God because he sent his disciples out to ask Jesus if he was indeed the Messiah. Jesus said in response to John, "All of these people have been healed, and the good news is proclaimed to the poor." This is what Christmas is all about. People being healed and hearing the good news. If we are to proclaim the reason for the season, then we are supposed to be that ray of light in the world. Can you point someone towards healing? Can you give them a small point of hope? Point them towards the good news of Christ? If we really are a Christian family, then our dysfunctional biological families aren't in the driver's seat when it comes to our focus during Christmas. Our forever family is. Our sharing Jesus is. And we want to invite others to that family. If we really lived the Christmas story, then all of the people who are alone, or who are focused on failures, they would not need to feel alone anymore. These cards that I handed out earlier were placed on my desk, and I was told that we pass them out this time of year, and told we did so at the parade. They don't say our church on them, so I handed you mine, which have our church on them and service times. And I did think about handing them out at the parade, but in general, those who are out at the parade are there because they're able to be there. They're not stuck at work. They're able to take just a brief moment to actually enjoy the season with family and friends. So I actually suggest that we take the card to those who aren't able to enjoy it as much. Take them to a retail worker, a restaurant worker, hospital staff. They have to work 365 days a year. Think of those for whom this is the hardest season. Someone who's lost a loved one. Take it to them. Someone who can't afford the extravagance of the season. Take it to them. Hand it out with something inexpensive, a bottle of water. Take a few extra cookies out of the 20 bajillion dozen we bake this time of year, and stick them in a baggie and take them with you. When I worked in retail, a lady came in once and literally just dropped off a plate of cookies. And of course, you guys know how much I love cookies. And I couldn't believe it. I was so stunned. I will never forget that day or the lady. She had brown hair, red sweater on. Random acts of kindness. It really, really, really made that my day. And it's been years, and I still remember that. And all she did was drop off a plate of cookies to some retail workers. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. You don't have to spend a ton of money. You can even make some extra soup and stick it in a Tupperware container and drop it off to people. Then they don't have to go out for lunch. Attach the card, and voila. They're probably going to be rather intrigued about a church that encourages you to do random acts of kindness. We have fantastic missions going on at this church this season. We have the Angel Tree, which only has a few children left, but they do still need gifts. We have Christmas baskets to bless others. And these ministries absolutely cost money for all of us. But a random act of kindness honestly doesn't have to cost much, if anything. We could actually, and we should be doing them all year long. Bringing the joy and the good news of Christ to others is our mission here at First United Methodist. We have been blessed by the Messiah. This tiny baby that we are about to celebrate the birth of is going to grow up and is going to die on a cross for the forgiveness of my sins, for the forgiveness of your sins. I've never felt worthy of that, and I'm so thankful for that love and that God thought I was worthy. God thinks you're worthy too. We have been given the greatest gift ever, and I hope you will take time to share that gift with others this season.